All right, guys. First of all, happy holidays. Hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. Give UConn credit. I thought their defense really frustrated us in the second half. We were able to cut it to 10 at the 4-minute mark, but we couldn't make enough plays. Too many missed free throws. Too many missed shots at the rim for us right now. But give UConn credit first and foremost. Give that team credit. I thought they came in and played a really, really good second half. Frustrated us with their defense. Thought our first half was really good in a lot of ways. Just really disruptive defensively, really active, created some offense, and we just need to do it longer and better. So questions?
Chris, you mentioned being frustrated. I'm curious, just in a big picture view, how frustrating is it when you're 11 of 21 at the line, I think 6 of 19 on layups, when you had your chances and you had them on the ropes for portions of the game?
Yeah, no, that's where we got to get better. It is frustrating. I've racked my brain on what we can do to shoot free throws better, and we've got to find a way to do that when you're margin for error in a game like this. The shots at the rim. I think there were some really good ones that we just have to be able to finish through contact better. They've got a little bit of a size advantage. NJ's got to be able to finish at the rim better than what he did tonight in certain situations, and we do across the board. That's when you're in that position and they're really, the way they're defending, they're really forcing you to finish one-on-one in a lot of situations. They're playing you to where they're saying, okay, hey, go finish at the rim. We're not going to give up assists. We're going to force you to go make a play through our bodies at the rim, and we just weren't able to do it.
Coach, we're about halfway through the season. What's your impression of your team?
I think we have pockets of really good play, and that's encouraging. I thought tonight our response needs to be better. I need to help them with that. We need to help them as coach. When I say response, our overall response when the game gets hard and challenging and they make a little bit of run. I was pleased to be able to cut it to 10. There's a lot of areas we need to get better, but we've been able to have some really, really positive stretches of play here through, 8 and 5, 13 games. But, the challenge for us is we've got to be able to have a better response. We've got to play better longer than what we're doing right now.
One more quick question. Are you able to talk about the improvement of Cruz McClure and Fabian Flores?
Yeah, they've gradually gotten better. I thought Fabian got really tired today, and that showed. He's got to get in better shape. He's a young man who just got to us in September, so he missed all summer conditioning. Cruz struggled against St. John's and when we won at Wichita, but I thought today he had really good, gave us good life off the bench, was pleased with him. Those two young guys, and they are young, are really critical for us as we grow throughout the season. I think Brandon Maclin is going to be critical as well for us. He's just now about 70%. And to be honest with you tonight, I probably shouldn't have played Caleb Banks because of his illness the last 4 days. But we were just low on bodies.
Coach, talk about being low on bodies there, and obviously I know later in the season you are trying to kind of trim down your rotation. Just how do you guys, Nick asked Coach Hurley about it, but just how do you coach clean physicality, especially down the stretch, as you guys are trying to stay out of foul trouble with the rotation?
Yeah, we really got to look at it with CJ in particular. He's just got to be smarter with the fouls. We've got to really look at on film. He's got to take away some of the cheap fouling that he had. I thought that our ability to be disruptive in the first half gave us a chance for it to be a one-possession game at halftime. But we had too many fouls that we need to be more disciplined with as a group, and CJ in particular. He's an older guy. We need him on the floor. He's got to be smarter than that.
Yeah, are there any similarities you kind of noticed in this game compared to that game you had against St. John's? And if so, what are they?
No, not as to be honest with you, not a whole lot. Their defense is really good. I thought we had a better overall response at St. John's than what we did tonight. I know our guys really wanted to win and wanted to play well, and when you're right there at the first half and it starts to get away from you, I just think we were not strong enough, tough enough, disciplined enough in the second half through some of the struggles of not finishing and missed free throws. I just think we let that get to us too much. And at the end of the game, that was the difference against a good team like this.
You mentioned CJ's cheap fouls. Is it an over-eagerness to making a play? Is it a fundamental issue? Like, what do you kind of attribute that to?
Yeah, I think he's just he can play smarter than what he's playing defensively right now. And we've got to help him with that as coaches. But we've got to really show him on film like he had it, like his last one. I just didn't think was necessary. So it's really something he's just got to clean up. I think he was really eager, but when I had to really nurse his foul trouble the entire game. It was hard to get him in a rhythm for long stretches because of constantly being in foul trouble. So you're pulling him in and out. You're putting them in for offense and then out, and it's just hard to get in a rhythm with that.
And then Maclin was in here earlier, and he said that starting with St. John's and UConn could have been the best thing for this group as a whole because he felt like the group just needed to prove it to themselves that they could compete at this level. Do you share that belief as well, and do you think that's important to prove it to yourself early, especially in your first two Big East games?
We're never going to run for any challenges. So when people said you're starting with the tough part of this, they're all hard, as you know. They're all hard. They're all really hard in this league. That's just the reality. I think you saw what happened in our league this week. One team loses by a ton and then goes and picks up a road win right now. They're all hard games in this league. So we're not going to run from any challenges. These are two good teams. St. John's is a good team. UConn, I think, is one of the best teams I've seen in recent years, even though they were down one of their players today. They're a really good team. But I think that's a really good approach that BMAC's got. I think that shows kind of who he is that he thinks this can be really good for us moving forward.
Coach, not related necessarily to today's game, but earlier in the week, I'm still on social media, just shared a couple videos of him running at the Ray, and he looks like happy about his progress. Just talk about, despite not being able to play this season, what his presence has meant for the team, and especially for some of the younger European kids.
He hasn't been with us long enough, Andy, I would say, to be able to have a real positive he's got a really positive influence, but it's hard for him when, he never played with this group and these guys. I think he was a really important piece for this group because of his versatility in the middle of our lineup. Shooting 3-4, pretty good feel for how to play. So I'm excited for him next year because it fills a need that I think we're going to have. And he's a great kid, and he's worked really hard to get back where he is.
And then I know obviously the last one, but
no, you're fine.
But just in terms of obviously helping some of the younger European kids kind of adjust to playing American basketball. He was at Pitt last year. Just kind of talk about his influence there with guys like Ilya and Fabian who are just coming overseas.
Yeah, they're all a pretty close group. The international guys are a pretty close group, and I think they've really built a good rapport. And as the question was early, Fabian's going to be really important for us moving forward. So will Amsel. Amsel has now 3 more years. Cruz has a lot of years. Fabian as well. So those guys are going to be important. We got one last one. Is that all right?
And then Chris, the crowd, I think 7,200. What does it mean to play, a Sunday, you're the only game in the Big East, and just kind of have that impact that might have propelled you guys, especially early in the first half, just with that energy? Yeah,
the crowd was phenomenal. I think Dwayne, our AD, said it was maybe the second best crowd we've had in the last several years. So, Sunday tip, obviously 4th or 5th ranked team in the country. You and you've asked about our schedule. I really do want to bring a few more marquee non-conference home games for our fans here. But I think they were hungry to get into Big East play and to see some of these opponents. I think it's a credit to, hopefully our guys have given our fans a level of excitement. Obviously, it's also a credit to UConn and the success of that program. But our fans were phenomenal. I just wish we could have given them a little more taste there. I know we cut it to 10 at the 4-minute mark, but just a little more. We got that stop on the rebound, and then it got poked away from Fabian. I think if we could have gotten that stop and then scored at the other end, you're talking about 3.5 minutes. It's a 7 or 8 point game at that point. So We just were not, our margin for error in a game like this is small. We need to be better in the things we talked about. So, okay, happy holidays, guys.
Brandon, first of all, how's your shoulder? Like, what's it like playing through it?
At this point right now, it was some soreness and pain, but, once the ball tips off, it kind of all goes away. Adrenaline gets going. So during the game, nothing right now. I really don't feel nothing. So it's been progressing really well. So I feel pretty good today.
And then for you guys, what was the difference between the first and the second half?
First half we came out aggressive, physical with them. We practiced. We know that they run a lot of sets, they run a lot of action. So we practiced their actions all week. Got prepared for that. And then second half, we tried to do the same. We took away some physicality, fouls were being called. So they was able to run their sets, make shots, and we weren't. So.
Brandon, just talk about the start you guys got out to in the first half. I know you guys have had some slow starts throughout the year, but just talk about the intensity you guys came out with, especially on the defensive end.
We knew that we usually start slow. We wanted to come out today and throw the first punch. That's really the whole mentality was this week, just come out and throw the first punch.
And I want to ask you about the game Cruz having. Obviously, you guys have a close relationship, and I thought he made some really nice plays for you guys tonight. Just talk about kind of his progression and what his performance tonight meant.
That's big time Cruz. Me and Cruz, we're in the gym a lot. We spend a lot of time off the court. He's like my younger brother, basically. So he listens to me a lot. I've seen a lot of basketball, and he just loves the game. And, he can consume information and able to produce at such a young age, and he's such a great player.
Brandon, are you able to talk at all about the team's psychological approach to number 5 in the country?
Yeah, they're number 5 in the country, but like I said, once the ball goes up, it's mano a mano, man on man. So.
And then what's kind of like the mentality or mindset going into your next Big East game?
In the locker room, we just know that we belong. I know the history of DePaul hasn't been just highly, but I feel like these last 2 games we played, we've played good, and a lot of people putting DePaul on their radar. So we feel really confident. We're on to the next already. We're getting prepared. So.
Brandon, you mentioned that you guys proved to yourself that you guys belonged after starting off with St. John's and UConn. Do you feel like the locker room just needed to prove it on the court that they could do it to keep that confidence going?
Yeah, I do believe it because sometimes, you starting off with 2 ranked teams in the conference play, and that can be hard for a lot of teams. A lot of teams may not give themselves a chance. So just being able to be in those games and get early confidence, I feel like those 2 games was probably the best thing that could have happened to us because now we're very confident into the rest of the Big East schedule.